AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio with me, Astrologer Shelley Overton. Each week we go over the planetary positions, discuss astrology, and take callers' questions. If you would like to call in and get a reading, you can call 347-994-3365. Call in early as the lines fill up. This is Shelley. Welcome to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio. I thought I was off of mute, but apparently I had not turned it off, which kind of sucks, but maybe I accidentally hit it too. So we're going to try and keep that far away. Anyway, you are listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio. And I just spent the last couple of minutes talking about how cold it was. So today, it's about 65 degrees right now, on its way up to 70 degrees, and it's getting pretty nice today. It's going to go up to 70, but it's overcast a little bit right now. The clouds in front of my house kind of blocked out the sun, but behind the house, I see some blue sky, so hopefully it'll be a day of moderate clouds, and we'll get a lot of beautiful sun. But that blood moon, though, hey, did you get to see it this weekend? It was amazing. And I feel kind of silly. Sometimes I'm like, well, did you hear this? And maybe I just accidentally hit it a second before I noticed. But I'm going to reiterate in case you didn't hear me. So I was just talking about how I don't have decent recording electronics. I've got a camera, an iPad, a DSLR camera, a very nice one, an iPad, and an iPhone. And it's like a 7. It's not an old one, but it has a pretty good camera. But I cannot get a decent shot of the moon to save myself, I swear. So, yeah, it's rather frustrating because none of my equipment will take photos of the moon because it just is too bright. And so I guess I really need to work a lot more with my camera. But my camera, the battery drains because I have a ton of electrical energy in my chart, and I have Mercury ruler of my Sun, my Uranus, my Pluto, and my Mercury. So I have Mercury in Virgo, and I also have all those planets in Virgo ruled by Mercury. And I have Uranus in Virgo as well, which of course rules technology. And so currently we have this intense Aquarian energy. The Sun just moved into Aquarius. Fortunately, the moon is balancing it out a little bit today, but definitely Mercury is about to go into Aquarius, so it's really affecting electronics here, and it probably will so even more in about 3 days when Mercury goes in for sure. Right now it's a 27 Capricorn. So I've just been trying to figure out how I'm going to videotape vlogs and take photos because my camera drains a battery so quickly. I can't even do art videos because it just drains it right away. I don't know. Does anyone else have that issue? I know it's probably not just me. Everybody can be affected by this technology stuff and batteries. But anyway, there you go. So it was a beautiful moon this weekend, and it was at 0 degrees Aquarius opposite the sun's at 0 degrees Aquarius opposite a 0 degree Leo moon. So we talked about that all last week. If you haven't heard, go back to last week's show and you'll hear all about what that was. So this week we are talking about Mars and Uranus. And I know it's a little early. It's the 22nd of January. And these two planets join up on the 13th of February. But I've just been doing a lot of readings, and it's a very significant transit. And it's not just, actually, I'm just going to even go in and see if I can find the transit. I did a little research yesterday, I think, or the day before. And let's see, I've got so many research folders. Astro events, there it is. Astro research, Astro events. And so I was just looking at what's coming up here, and if I can figure out how I named it. I thought I named it Mars, which should come up first, but it's not coming up. So I guess it's probably just going to be a matter of me calling up the actual chart and not trying to find the chart. So the two of them join up on February 13th. And because there are other events going on at that time, I'll just flip over here in my planner. It'll probably be the quickest way to talk about it. And also the 19th, we have another full moon in Virgo. So that's only 6 days after. But okay, so Mars technically goes into Taurus on 14th. So that'll be good, actually, because, of course, Taurus answers to Venus, and Valentine's Day is all about love. And so Venus and love, they go together. But the 12th into the 13th, depending on which time zone you're in, Mars is conjunct or joins at the exact same degree as Uranus in Aries. And so 1:21 a.m. on the 13th is the conjunction in Eastern, and that would be 12:21 in Central. And then in Pacific, it is 10:21 p.m., and Mountain will be 11:21 p.m. So those two planets are pretty intense together. Okay, and the reason being that Mars rules war. He is the god of war. And Uranus is the unexpected, and it is also technology. It rules humanitarianism, science, weather, meteorology, astrology. LGBT is under that. It's a lot of things. It's not just, hey, it's going to be, a rockin' and rollin' weather day. It's going to be a lot of stuff, and it will culminate at that point. And because Mars and Uranus mean there can be explosive energy, we may see explosions or something unexpected. It can involve chemicals, which is Uranus. And it is also about children. Well, I shouldn't say that. The moon eclipse was about children, but Uranus and Aquarius are about humanity, and it is the family of man. So I guess not specifically children, but it is connectedness to our social groups. It is networking. I mean, my goodness, of all the planets or signs, I would say Uranus has such a broad scope of rulership over things just because it rules. Like when I talk about Uranus or Aquarius, I think of everything that's kind of science related and electric and neurological. And then there are many areas that you've got the body or you've got social aspects. So there are different things that are around the vibe of Aquarius. It is pretty broad in scope, you would think, but I guess when I think of it, it's more like neurological and scientific and technical. So when you assign it energy and rulership, it's things that relate to that. It's things that relate to the broad scope of sociology. So the masses, charity, unions, again, LGBT, because it is the collective energy around alternative lifestyles. It is the rulership over anything alternative or unexpected or unusual. It can be eccentric, but it's very clear-minded. And the reason it's clear-minded is because the energy of Aquarius brings in information from every direction. And even directions, in my mind, it's like everything is kind of the here and the now. So it's hard to express it in directions. But in a 3D world or a linear world, it is directionally from everywhere. So we pick up electrical impulses when we have Uranian influences. When we have that influence in the last degree of Aries, of course, Aries is masculine energy. It is ruled by Mars, the god of war. It is drive. It is men. And it joins up with Uranus. It is what you wouldn't expect. It is also stimulating union activity anger around union activity, anger pretty much around all of the different issues and subjects I just listed. So we are stimulated to excess when Mars is joining with Uranus. It is rocking and rolling. It is about ideas. It is about unusual things. It is about um, science advancement. It is also about the culmination of an old story around science, an old story around aggression, an old story around war and the unexpected, and weapons, technological weapons and chemical weapons around war. Those can come out because it is an ending energy. It's like the push out of it to kind of finish your say, finish what you have on the agenda. And so we will see this energy express out as forcefulness. And it can be, like I said, a forceful blast. It's in Aries, which is a fire sign, so it can be explosives. It can be explosive just in the general sense. And it's going to be a collective energy where we all experience something, but in our individual charts, we are bursting forth out of an old dogma around how we look at men, how we express our masculine nature, and wherever it falls in your chart, it is heightened in that energy. So right now I'm looking at what's going on in Orlando. I did an 11 o'clock chart for the now, and we have 14-degree Aries on the horizon, and today Mars is at 14 degrees. So Mars literally just rose on the eastern horizon. I probably can't see it, of course, because it's daylight, and usually at night you could see Mars shining in the sky red, of course, because it is a red planet. I find that really interesting since the moon was a blood moon, which of course is red, and now we have Mars joining up with Aries, another red energy, Mars. So it is fiery energy and it is blood, and that can also mean that something's going to happen that involves something about blood. It could be chemicals in blood. It could be a mass connection to something that went wrong and influenced people through the blood. And it can also mean that you may not necessarily know what it is immediately, because Uranus is one of those planets that are considered enigmatic, which means you cannot necessarily understand how it gets to conclusions or what happened, because it's on a level that is above the ego and above the material world. It's an air sign, an air energy of Aquarius. I always assign the element to the planet that rules that sign. So it's an air planet as far as I'm concerned, because it's the ruler of an air sign. And so the air means that chemicals can go in the air, or we can see weather like today that's very windy. And it is the movement of energy. And on a deeper level, this is really interesting. This is a personal note. When I go out in my garden is overgrown right now and needs to be weeded. Whenever I go out into my garden and start weeding and moving my plants around, so when you think of the phrase, the winds of change, it is very true. It is not just a metaphor. I truly believe that there are winds of change. And when wind blows through our lives, it pushes out old, stale energy. And the energy goes into the atmosphere from thought, from electrical waves, from cell towers and TV towers and radio towers, and who knows what other kind of satellites are in the sky. It's all creating collective energetic air noise. And so we are part of that. There are also stuff which I find really fascinating, extremely fast particles that we don't even necessarily know about in the atmosphere that go right through us at tremendous speeds, coming through the atmosphere through space. And all these things can affect us. So when Uranus, which rules all of that, rules that science and that air energy and that electrical energy, we see events. and Mars likes to stimulate events. So this combination coming up February 13th is going to be pretty intense. And it doesn't necessarily have to be negative. It can be people standing up for their rights, which again, it is unions, it is activists, and people of alternative lifestyles and thinking. So we can connect to some of these things. A couple days before that happens, Mercury goes into Pisces, which can also connect us to the watery element of the sea and the ocean, the water, the moon, even our own bodies. There's water there, and so it may be the conductor of what we see, because water conducts electricity. So having Mercury, which is an electrical planet, also like Uranus, but of a lesser intensity, it can affect local weather. And so I would say probably closer to the 10th, we're going to see more cold and snow, because you combine Mercury and Pisces with the moon that day, which is Taurus, and so we're going to have that energy also. Moon in Earth is chilly, and Mercury in Pisces is water energy. So chilly, cold, snow. But the same day, we have the moon conjunct Uranus and the moon conjunct Mars before it hits Uranus. So we're going to get a little hint of what's to come on the 10th. And honestly, looking at this, I was just looking it over yesterday when I also had a couple readings. I looked into what's going on. From February 4th, we have the moon in Aquarius, and it's conjunct the sun in Aquarius and sextile Jupiter in Sagittarius. We have the moon and Mercury in Aquarius conjunct. So that's significant for electrical energy. The very next day is the Lunar New Year, Year of the Pig. In case you hadn't heard, February 5th is Lunar New Year. And so we have all this energy of the moon sextiling Mars, sextiling Uranus, and conjunct Mercury. And then we have, coming up later in the week, we have that sextile of Mercury to Mars, and then Mercury sextile to Uranus on the 9th, and then Mercury goes into Pisces. So as soon as Mercury goes into Pisces, though, we have Mars and Uranus conjunct. So again, Uranus, Aquarius, Mercury, a lot of energy going on electrical in the month of February. Those of you who are born with Sun in Aquarius are going to really be affected and strongly influenced by this energy. It can make you, which I will tell you, Aquarians tend to be a fairly cheerful lot and gregarious, and people are attracted to them because they are the connectors. They want to network. They want to find social groups, because it rules peer groups. And so when you have all this Aquarian energy, we're going to be getting a lot more social and a lot more connected, more social media events, more probably energy where we may get frustrated because Mars can want to take action right away. And fortunately, from the beginning of February, he's going to be in a positive aspect to the Sun, like I said, and he'll be in positive aspect to Mercury and even Venus. So it's going to be a little bit of activity around friendships and networking. It can mean money from career looks better, because just so you know, my thought process, Capricorn is, if you put Capricorn on the first house of self, then that puts Aquarius on the second house, and that's money. So a lot of Aquarian energy, and it is also the second house from career. So it is a really strong month for gathering money in career and also networking, and that's how we can make money. So it really, I don't know, I'm telling you a lot of things, but the positive is that we're going to be more social, more networked, more focused, getting things done, being connected. The negative is that there will be an energy of combustion and a potential for explosions and events that affect large masses of people, including the weather, including outages, probably. I would say it's a heightened time for computer issues, a heightened time for phone issues, for network system issues. If you're in technology, I have a friend who works for Oracle, going to be a time of more IT issues. And it could be a time of electrical fires, of grids going down, again, affecting masses. It could be potential hacks. I haven't really looked that far into what other planetary effects are, but let me just look real quick here and see what we have. I know I just called that up. Where did it go? Hello. Oh, okay, I know what I did. I didn't label it. So let's just put Mars, Uranus, join. There we go. Now I can figure it out. Okay, so I've got it called up for February 13th at 11:08 a.m. because it happened to be this time when I'm doing the show. And we've got sextiles to the sun in Aquarius, which is good because the sun is ego, and it means if it's in positive aspect to that particular conjunction, that it is going to be a push towards independence and autonomy and listening to your inner voice. It is clarity and understanding your own personal compass, because Aquarius is nothing if not independent and autonomous. And I'm just going to do a little mini rant on my pet peeve. My pet peeve is using the term sovereignty for autonomy. Autonomy is an individual authority over yourself and your actions and having, the power within yourself. Sovereignty is a monarchy-driven term that it connects you to royalty and landowners, and I've always had an issue with that because it's countries. Countries are sovereign. Individuals are autonomous. So that's my little lesson for today. And my pet peeve. Okay, so enough of my soapbox. Going back to what's going on. So on that day of Mars and Uranus joining in, we also have, like I said, Mercury in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces. So, of course, that's going to be a big weather time. We have Sun at 24 Aquarius, and so it's late degree, wrapping up, getting ready for the new energy of Pisces. So I think it's going to be probably a big energetic time around blizzards, storms, electrical outages, technology going down, and you know what? Maybe I'll be proven wrong because you know what? Aquarius and Uranus, they are nothing if not loving unpredictability. So I could sit here and give you the full rundown of what's covered, and then it'll be a gorgeous, clear day with nothing going on because that's the nature of Aquarius. It just doesn't want to be pinned down. Whatever you assign to it, it says, I'll show you. And I will tell you this. If you know someone with an Aquarius strong in their chart, sun sign, rising sign, moon sign, Mars, Venus, any of the quicker moving planets, or close to their sun, Uranus close to their sun, they're not going to want to be told what to do. And so whatever you label them as, which is a very Capricornian thing, remember Aquarius is the next sign after Capricorn, so it is the counter to that energy. And so Aquarius energy will challenge you for the sake of challenging you or showing you your hypocrisy. It loves to do that. And it's kind of sly that way. And so when you have people who have that Aquarian nature, look for them to frustrate you because they will play devil's advocate just because they want to show you how attached you are to an ideology or a dogma. And I can tell you Aquarius, part of its hallmark is to be detached emotionally and be intellectual. So it's kind of showing off its intellect and how detached it can be from emotion and emotional influence. So that's a lot to take in, I know. But I'm going to stop there with that because we only have like 3 minutes before the bottom of the hour, and I do want to take calls. But I am going to continue before I go to break and tell you what's going on in the sky now because I haven't really talked much about that other than the blood moon. So Mars, like I said, today it's at 14 degrees Aries, and Uranus is at 28. So he's going to go in the next 3 weeks 21 degrees. Mars is going 21 degrees to join up with Uranus. So for the rest of the month of January and the first 2 weeks of February, Mars is in Aries. He is in the middle 10 degrees, which is a decant, and the decant meaning 10, 10, and 10. So the first decant is initiating energy. The middle decant is, and so it's when we dig our heels in. And the last decant is the mutable, getting ready for the change and the shift. So Uranus is getting ready for that change and is in trine to the moon today. And so that energy is a culmination of little boys, probably. It's children, creativity, and Uranus and Aries, little boys, and also Mars and Aries trine by sign to the moon. It's about mothers and sons. And I'm going to keep a good thought because my son is a sun. He has sun in Leo, and that's close to the moon today. And he also has an Aquarius rising, which is right on the sun today. So maybe I'll hear from him. That'd be a nice little aside. So we've got this approaching energy of the combustion. So it's going to ramp up. The angry male, so to speak, is going to be getting stronger and stronger toward Valentine's Day. And it's honestly, I want to say it's probably an energy of like, I don't want to give flowers, I want to get laid. That's kind of more how I see this energy, this Valentine's Day. It's like, yeah, enough of this fluffy stuff. I want to have sex. So anyway, we've got Saturn at 13 Capricorn, Pluto at 21 Capricorn, South Node at 26 retrograde, opposite the North Node at 26 Cancer. We have Mercury at 27 Capricorn, and all the Capricorn planets are looking to make the change in career, make the change in structure. Wherever it falls in your chart, you're looking to align with your true purpose and make it more about your desires, which at the end of the year when Jupiter goes into Capricorn is going to be non-negotiable. We are going to be driven to take care of ourselves. And Capricorns, this is very important for you because you always put yourself last, along with Virgos and quite possibly Taurus. I also know a Taurus who usually puts herself last. So the earth signs are very good at altruism and negating the self. So come on, earth signs, let's stand up and be counted. Let's make it happen. It's our time to shine. I'm a Virgo, ton of Virgo. I've got Jupiter and Taurus. So yes, lots of energy being funneled into the earth energy this year. And we are meant to culminate all the things we've been trying so hard to culminate with Uranus and Aries for the last 7 or 8 years. That's about taking the action, but it has had a hard time manifesting. The drive is the action taken. And now as Mars gets into Taurus in February, we are going to have the actual physical culmination, manifestation of all the drive we've been putting in. So if you're wondering when that's going to happen, look to the end of February when Mars gets into Taurus. It's Mars in the sign of money, taking action, bringing it on, and also trines to Saturn, which is creating the structure and the career and the alignment for you in your life. Then we have Jupiter at 16:05 minutes and Venus at 16:13 minutes. So they just conjuncted. They just joined, I believe it was yesterday. But that was interesting because they joined actually it was the same day as the eclipse, if I'm not mistaken. So let me just real quick look that up because it's an interesting point. Okay, so the eclipse was, I believe, at 12:16 a.m. on the 21st, and the very next day, 7:26, Venus and Jupiter joined. And so today they are still close. And I saw them this morning up in the sky. They're so beautiful. 2 bright little stars shining off in the sky. Well, of course, they're planets, but they were so pretty. And Jupiter joined Venus is making your desires happen, being self-aware and self-motivated with it, self-interested, and taking action. It's money, it's education, it's travel. It can be musicians. They can get money right now through playing music or traveling, which there's a definite connection with musicians and the planet or the sign of Sagittarius and the planet Jupiter, because it connects the musicians to that touring energy, so you're always touring. And I have a friend, I've told you about her, Tracy Coriel, who is a musician, so I might call her today and say, hey, what's going on? I know she's got a gig coming up, so that'd be interesting to see how it's going for her. Anyway, Neptune at 14 Pisces. So like I said, we have Mars at 14 Aries and Neptune at 14 Pisces. That, I use in conjunct for 150 degrees, but that it's actually quincunx. I don't like saying that. I like in conjunct better, so I say that. But a technical in conjunct is 30 degrees apart, and that's Neptune and Mars. And Neptune and Mars, it can be a shift or an energy of change, but to me, they're analogous as an artist. Analogous colors are next to each other on the color wheel, and they are usually complementary. So I know in conjuncts are supposed to be friction, but I can see them as more cooperative, only using different energies. So Neptune's in Pisces, water. It's expanding us in an awareness of ocean issues and having clean water. And then we have Mars in Aries, which is taking action. So Mars just was in Pisces over the last month, and now in Aries, he's like, oh yeah, I talked to Neptune in Pisces, and now I'm going to go out and kind of spread the word that we have some issues with water. We need to start paying attention to water, things like that. So anyway, that's a synopsis today, and the moon is in conjunct to all the Capricorn today. So the moon wants to be playful. The moon wants to connect one-on-one and wants to be emotional and tell a story. Saturn and Saturn and Mercury and Uranus, get the planets right here, Shelley. Saturn, Pluto, and Mercury in Capricorn are all being very precise and crisp, and they want a literal communication. They don't want to be flowery and hyperbolic. Moon's going to be hyperbolic. So they're going to clash. What you feel is a secure way to be, being playful in the home, play with children, is going to be at odds with your mind, and you're going to be going, oh, I really should work. I really have things to do. I have all these issues. And I can almost guarantee you I will be feeling that way today as well, because I have Venus in Leo, and my daughter's been sick the last few days. And she's off in the afternoon, so I'm probably going to spend some time with her, knowing in the back of my mind I need to get that painting done and get it off to the show that is needing to be entered today. It's a deadline. So anyway, enough about me. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and take callers. I didn't want to end that as abruptly as I did, but I just needed a couple minutes extra to do a little housekeeping here, not literal, like figurative for the show. Anyway, we are back. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. If you would like a private reading with me, you can get me at angeliczodiac.com. And yeah, looking forward to talking with you. I was just going to touch on this a little bit because, of course, politics are a very big part of day-to-day life here in America right now and the news. And so every week, I think I might just do a little check-in with Trump and see what's going on with him. And it won't last very long. I don't want to bore anybody. I don't want to anger anybody. I'm just going to tell you what his transits are. For those of you who don't know, he has a 29-degree Leo rising, and his sun is 22 Gemini up in the house of career. And he's also got a transit going on in his house of children and creativity. That's where all the Capricorn falls for him. And so it's about structuring his creative life, so to speak. And of course, Saturn is restriction. So what happens is he has a creative mind, definitely having a Leo rising, Mars at 26 Leo, Pluto at 10 Leo. He's a creative individual, and I think he expresses it through his words, and he gets really creative with what he says. So having all that Saturn in that creative house, he's being restricted right now. And of course, when Saturn joins with Pluto, it's going to be like probably a culmination of that energy. And remember, the fifth house is play. It's children in play. And then having Mars join up with Uranus, this is kind of the interesting aspect that I'm looking at. And I do think that because he's got this energy in the fifth house, which is romance, creativity, and children, he's got Jupiter joined with Venus in his house of home and family. And he also has a moon at, looks like 21 of Sagittarius, along with the south node. So his moon joins his south node in Sagittarius at the last few degrees of his house of home and family, with Jupiter, planet of transformation, in home and family. And Venus just joined Jupiter, and now Venus is going over his moon, and then ultimately by the end of the year, Jupiter will be going over his moon and exiting the house of home and family. Around the same time, well, at least throughout this year, I should say, Mars joining with Uranus, that's February 13th, and then Jupiter exiting his house of home and family at the end of the year. I do think that he's probably not going to be married that much longer. That's my take on it. And honestly, looking at his chart, he's got a lot of energy around women in his chart that's squaring or oppositional, because he's got 3 planets in Cancer, including Mercury, Saturn at 23, joined with Venus at 25. And the nodes of fate are 1 degree off of his Venus at the last degrees of the 11th house, opposite the sun right now, of course, and Mercury about to go opposite there. And so there's a lot of energy that's going on behind the scenes, I think, with his Pluto in Leo and Mars in Leo in the 12th, and the moon's going across those right now. But Mars joining with Uranus at 20, let's see, it'll be 28 or 29 degrees. I just had it and I closed it already. But it's going to join up right on the other side of the cusp of this house of commitment. And it's unexpected. So Mars right now is in Aries, making us be very much about our own energy. That's falling in his house of commitment to the marriage. And I think having Neptune in his house of marriage there's a lot of illusion, but there's also a lot of things going on behind the scene that we don't know about, and he may not even recognize. And then Mars and Aries in that intense house, there's probably a certain amount of war going on within his marriage. When Mars joins with Uranus, it gets out of the house of commitment and goes into transformational 9th house, hitting Uranus, it kind of exploding onto the scene, like I said, and it's a culmination of whatever those issues were. So if something is in fact happening, and honestly, I haven't seen Melania in the news in a while, there could be news coming out that that marriage is over, or they're separated, or something going on with that. But that's kind of the focus right now, along with his networking ability. Uranus squaring his natal Venus, and his Saturn is at 23. So Uranus has been squaring his Saturn, and Mars is about to square his Saturn right before it hits the Uranus conjunction. And so that's a huge culmination of energy around legalities going through the 8th house, and then clarity and understanding. And then, of course, Mars goes right into Taurus, and it's a huge time of learning and understanding around money and love and travel. So we'll see what happens. That's just kind of an overview. Anyway, we'll probably talk more now that I've explained his chart a little bit more. We won't have to talk as much in depth about some of those details if you listen regularly. So let's take our first caller, 518. Hi, 518. How are you?
Hello.
Hi. Who is this?
I'm an Allie. Thank you for doing that Trump thing. That's totally fun.
Oh, okay. I know. I really do enjoy when I listen to astrologers go over what's going on with Trump. It's like, oh, do tell. You know, I put my fingers together. But
yes.
Anyway,
Celebrities are totally fun. Thank you.
Oh, good. It's good to hear that, because I actually love focusing on charts of celebrities and seeing, kind of looking into their lives. Like, you have a window into what goes on, you know, privately. And yeah, I know that's my what is it? Voyeur, voyeur in me, where I'd like to see what's going on privately. But anyway, you gotta. I personally want to watch that a little bit, because I know that they're public figures, but you know, it is some personal information. As an astrologer, I can find out all sorts of things. So you don't want to like out them.
Good insight, like to understand things on a less scary level or whatever. You know, you like have insight. And then it helps you understand astrology also, because you see it through other people's actions.
So that's, I mean, I'm just harping on this a little bit, because I was thinking of doing a blog once a month about a celebrity and picking apart a celebrity's chart, because I just find it fascinating. You know, I've always been attracted to, like, Princess Diana, or musicians that I particularly like shows my age, but John Denver, and looking into their charts, because as an aside, John Denver was a Pisces, I believe. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head, but I think he was a Pisces, or had strong Pisces in his chart, and I know he was struggling with some addiction issues in the last days. So, you know, it's kind of interesting to see that. But anyway,
okay.
First off, tell me your birth information, and then tell me what you'd like. You can tell me what you're looking for after I get that, and that helps me just get up and ready for you as you're telling what you would like. So just shoot birthday real quick.
August 25th, 1982, and I believe it was 124, Cooperstown, New York.
Okay, is that AM or PM?
I believe it's PM.
Okay. All right, and go ahead and tell me what you would like to know about.
Maybe like weaknesses I can work on, or some way I'm supposed to like go. There's too many options, it seems like.
Okay.
Or I don't know, I'm torn by things.
Okay, that's fine. We'll look at it. We'll see what we got. Hang on, let me just get my little now chart so I can combine your chart and what's going on in the sky right now. Okay, so you're not sure about your job, right? That's kind of what you're focused on, or career? Is it job or career, or both?
It's like both. I don't want to like keep moving forward blindly towards like a thing that won't get me.
Right.
I'm old now, and I'm like worried about wasting time.
Please, I graduated in 82. Honey, you are not old.
Yeah. Well, my body tells me it's coming.
That's cute. Okay. No, I feel you. So what I'm saying is you have Saturn at 19 Libra, and you have Pluto at 24 Libra, which means that Pluto now is squaring your natal Pluto, and Saturn is approaching a direct square to your natal Saturn. And that means when they join up, they are basically giving you a Saturn-Pluto square in your chart. And that's part of like, okay, wow, you know, I had Pluto and I have Saturn in Libra, which is very cooperative. It's in your house of soul groups, the 11th house, so that's the Aquarian house. So you're really good with relationships and reading people in a group and liking, I think, you know, it's interesting because I'm a very independent worker in my career and everything. You are really good with teamwork. that's like your thing. And so having Saturn go through Capricorn, what it's challenging you to do, and also I have to tell you, because this is what sets up the Capricorn, the Libra is all about cooperation and, it's saying, hey, I understand your point of view. What about you? Oh, yeah, I understand yours too. So you don't set any boundaries, and you're really generous and you're very cooperative. Capricorn, while it can be cooperative, it really likes things to be more structured and not as loosey-goosey. And so it's asking you, what can you do to systematize your career? And it is about money. It's all in your house of money. And it wants you to shore up yourself. It wants you, honestly, like I said, Jupiter's going to be going into Capricorn. It's going to be all about Capricorn. It's about me for a change. Capricorn is altruistic. Saturn is altruistic. And I know it doesn't seem like Capricorn can be altruistic, but it can be, because what it wants to do is help people to create a structure, and it wants to take care of people, and it wants to be the one to kind of be in control. Yes, I'm not going to lie, Capricorn likes to be in control, but you're always up in other people's stuff. So it's about, oh, well, you got to do this and you got to do that. Not you specifically, but in your money house, it's about helping others and helping others get their lives together. This energy is asking you to get your life together. This is about your finances and your structure and your career and what it is about you. And when Jupiter hits that Capricorn in December, it's December 3rd, you're going to be like, I've got to take care of me, and I'm not going to apologize for it. Right now, you've been getting hints, because every time you try and control something and it goes against you, it frustrates you.
Okay.
And
yes, that's helpful.
That's what's going on, is that you're going, but I can tell you, because in my chart, it's in the 3rd house, which is thought processes. And I notice when I'm frustrated, it's because I want to have a say. I want to be validated. I want the control over that situation. And I had a little personal mini tantrum. I think I may have told my aunt or something, but it was like in my brain. I was just going round and round with this conversation because I was in a situation that was really frustrating me, and I couldn't express it out to, well, my daughter was with me, and it was about my mother, and they have a strong connection. I'm like, I am losing my mind because I can't get it off my chest since I am so frustrated with this, because, I want to express it, but I'm going through this whole mental gymnastics going, well, why am I so frustrated? It's because I don't have any control. I have no say. This person has say over this, and that person has say, but I don't have any say. I have no control. And that's where Capricorns are frustrated, because they want to know that what they see in their mind as an organization of things is going to go through and be organized that way. It's systematized in a way that makes sense to them. And then they have some personal power, and the power comes through organizing things. But when things go in a way they don't foresee, or in a way that isn't in alignment with the way they would have it done, they get really frustrated, and that's where your tantrums come in. That's where you're like, but it's supposed to be this way, because I clearly know that I want it to go like this, but that's not how circumstances are manifesting. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so I find, unfortunately, a lot of times for me, it happens that in finances, when it doesn't go the way I think is logical or obvious, I get frustrated and start to have issues with customer service reps. And I'm like, but that's not the way it's always been. That's not the way good business runs things. Don't do it this way, Yeah. And so that's probably part of what you're seeing right now, is that things are not manifesting logically or literally. And I mean, they're kind of interchangeable somewhat, but logically is very linear thinking. It's like, if you do A and then you do B, C will happen. But we're in the beginning stages. The last 10 degrees of Capricorn are the transition stages. So Pluto is just 1 degree into the transition stage, and Pluto is nothing if not about change. So he's working on our psyche to say, this isn't comfortable as much as it used to be. Like when Pluto was in the middle 10 degrees of Capricorn, it was like, yeah, everything is going my way because I have power, I have control, and things were very literal, very constructed in a certain way. And I mean, I'm talking about like even just as an example, transformations, like they're realigning highways and doing a lot of road work here in Orlando. That's going according to plan. We have a system. We know where we want to put the road. We know when we have to do the work. We take it. We do it. It's very literal. The last 10 degrees are transformational. So those are where the wrenches come into the cogs. And those are where, oh my God, something came out of the blue and it's not the way it's supposed to be. And that's the frustrating part. So for you, right now, the big transformation around career, it does affect your money situation, but Saturn in Capricorn is everyone's career and the structure of it. And it's really the great alignment would be a good phrase for it, or the great realignment. That we are no longer going along the path that's tried and true. We are now having to redirect to something that has never been tried and is very experimental and innovative, okay? And part of that is the move of Pluto and Saturn in the next 5 years towards Aquarius, and it's a very significant move. It's significant for the country with our Pluto return, but it's significant for the world because we are shifting from the tried and true to the experimental and unreliable. And then also Uranus, which rules Aquarius, is going into Taurus. And Taurus is very plotting, very responsible, very aware of method and methodology, and takes his time understanding method and takes his time in general. So when you have the Aquarian energy infused into these two earth signs, the Capricorn energy and the Taurus energy, you're having to make your peace with that which isn't expected or that which is unusual. Because if you don't do it now and start embracing it, you're going to really not have a good time in 2024 when Pluto goes into Aquarius. But having a little hint of Aquarius in your house of money is going to make you more autonomous and more aware of your own personal power within the money area. So the clarity is coming. Sun is there today. It's 2 degrees, which means it goes into your house of communication tomorrow. So it's definitely waking you up to some money stuff. And as far as career is concerned, you've got that square of all the Capricorn to your Libra Saturn Pluto conjunction. So the good news is you will never have that square again in your life after it passes away, but it is approaching a direct hit. So what the energy is doing is saying, okay, listen, you need to understand that you're shoring up your career in a very structured way so that you know how to handle what's coming, which will be unstructured. It's kind of like I always say in art, it's learning the rules of how to do it so you can feel free to break them down the road, and you know the rules of it's also, I mean, just metaphor. It's driving the roads knowing that you should stop at the stop sign for safety. You should stop at the stoplight and go when it's green, so that when the circumstances arise and you need to think on in the moment, you know that that is the rule. But in this case, I can't stay at a red light when a fire engine's behind me. I have to move out of the way, and that may mean crossing an intersection on a red light. So you know the rules so that in the given moment you can break them. That's really what you're approaching. Okay, you're finding your authority in your job, in your career, and then knowing that once you know who you are, you're going to be able to work within the system that isn't going to be as structured because you know the basic structure of what you want to do, but that it does relate to your career because it's a direct square. It's a hit. It's the biggest square and influence of your chart. I don't think you'll be around with Pluto opposing your natal Pluto, so other than a possible inconjunct at the end of your life, you're not going to have this direct hit to your career again. It is about shoring up who you are as a person, maybe asking for help or finding someone else who has an authority to teach you and mentor you. But can I more specifically answer anything, or did that pretty much give you what you needed?
That was really helpful with the entrepreneur, like, shift. Maybe I would be able to learn under someone
Yeah.
and like survive a 9-to-5 job for a little while.
Right.
That might be a path forward.
Yeah.
I tried college and it like was horrible, and I'm like, do I keep going in that direction?
Okay, let me ask you. The show's almost over, and I was going to take one more call before the end of the show. I've literally got 1 minute, but I'll run over to take the call. I want to ask you. Oh, God damn! I just lost it when I was setting that up. Oh, sorry. Not supposed to. I shouldn't swear on this, but anyway. Yeah. No. What? Let me ask you. What are you trying to do with your? What is it that you want to do with your career? Because it's a very social, giving energy in your chart for career. Very much connected to other people.
Thinking like in the end, I would like get myself set, and in the end, you know, have a safe house or some kind of foundation co-op, like teaching, bring kids into the home, like whole house, rainbow children. But I need the resources to do that. So I thought I'd try to get a job, 9-to-5, pay the bills while I work on my evil plan or something. I don't know.
Okay, well, definitely, I would recommend you having Jupiter in the first house, and also you have Uranus at 0, Sagittarius in the first, which is entrepreneurship. So, of course, you want to do something independent. That's awesome. And with children, of course, Sagittarius and any of the fire signs are all about children. So, right now, Mars is trining your Venus in Leo, which rules children, up in the house of education and learning. And that also speaks to your first house and the Jupiter in the sky right now. You've got this grand trine of fire going between your Venus, the transiting Venus, Jupiter conjunction, and Mars transiting also. So it's about taking action, and if you can do something with education, absolutely. And as far as internships or getting people on board, first off, I would say yes to the job if you want to get it. It will be better picking up a job after the conjunction of Mars, Uranus, or right around it, because that goes right into your house of work, and that is about triggering independence and autonomy. So, you know, it might be something that you can do for yourself online, but then the other side of it is when Jupiter gets to Capricorn at the end of the year, I know that's a long way off, it's going to trigger that tangible goods that you need, and you could get a job then or have an internship or some situation that will arise that will support you. The money will be there when Jupiter goes into Capricorn. But right now, having Jupiter trine your Saturn, trine your Pluto, this whole summer is about that sextile. It's about really having a lot of power in your identity. And it could also mean money from foreign places or places far away. So I would honestly say get a GoFundMe page and promote it on social media. You've got Saturn, Pluto in the house that is social media ruled, which is the 11th house, the Aquarius house. And you have Mercury in Virgo, and that's also education. You have Sun at your midheaven, education. I think everything here in your chart right now is really supporting education. So if you're looking to get a job that might support what you're doing, look to education. Look to getting a job in school. And then that'll give you the summer off, and you can do some more promotion. And then in the fall, you'll also have education, and you could work it into what you're doing. So
okay, thank you so much.
I hope so. You're welcome.
Yeah, and when you say education, it's the education, not me getting education.
No, it doesn't have to be. There's nothing in your chart.
Either way,
everything in your chart is in the lower half of your chart right now, except for the moon. All the planetary transits are in the self part of your chart, not in the we part.
Okay.
So it's more about what I'm going to do, where I'm going to go, who I'm going to talk to, what am I going to do in my home, what am I doing in my office, what am I going to do with my family. It's all about self. So, you know, what am I doing about money, and the lights shining on your, like the Jupiter-Venus conjunctions in your house of self. It's about being free to be playful, to know that there's optimism and the planets are lining up to make it the way you want it to be. You just have to have some faith. And this conjunction of Mars-Uranus is going to be a huge push to make something happen, and there is a lot of autonomy coming because Uranus goes into Taurus in your house of work, so there's going to be some tangibles and unusual ways of looking at work, and so it is about independence and autonomy, and it's coming, but you know, you might have to look at things outside the box. Okay, so I know it's all the education is about adding education to the career choice. Like you are a teacher. Find ways of expressing that teacher side of you. You have Virgo, Sun, and Mercury teacher. Let's see, you have, what else is in here that I saw? Uranus and Sagittarius, Sagittarius in the first house, and Neptune in Sagittarius. You want to grow and understand and learn. You're all about that. Spiritual growth, personal growth, like growth and learning is huge. Okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
Pleasure. You too.
Thanks
Bye.
so much. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, let's take one last call in the overtime. So, hi, 631. How are you, and who am I talking to?
Hi, I'm well. Crystal's my name.
Good. Hi, Crystal. I got you. So, what can I answer for you today? Hi.
Just like a mini solar return read, I guess.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's going to be super mini because I'm over the end of the show. Let's see here what we got for you. Mini solar return. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty rockin' and rollin' birthday, actually, because that conjunction of Mars and Uranus. Uranus is your ruling planet to your sun, because Sun in Aquarius. Uranus rules Aquarius. It's in your career, so this year is going to be all about the career. It's going to be getting, and it's a lot of independence. You know, Uranus is about entrepreneurship, and having that in your career house in the sign of Aries is about sales. Do you do sales? I mean, I'm not sure. Let me see. Your Saturn is Scorpio and children. It's about selling your ideas. It's about, the Uranus in Aries is very experimental. So it can be about finding something that is new and different. And Aries can also be childlike energy, and Saturn for you is in the fifth house of children. So you do want to have, you are immersed in the energy of children on a deep level. You've got Sagittarius there also, and Uranus at the last degrees of the house of children. I would say do something with kids, do something playful.
I'm a broadcast meteorologist, and I just auditioned for a full-time spot last week.
Awesome.
So I'm hoping to hear back from them soon.
Okay, so meteorology, that's one of the things I mentioned earlier on. So, so that makes a lot of clarity. I've never met a meteorologist, and it's so funny because I just brought it up today. Uranus rules meteorology. It's in your house of career. So the 13th of February is going to be a big day for you. So, I would definitely say
my start date.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, and you can definitely make money from it. But that being said, also keep it playful, because the Jupiter-Venus conjunction is at the exact same degree, 16 degrees Sag, that your Uranus is, which rules meteorology. So I do think that you're going to hear positive things back, and you're going to get it. You're in a solar return, which is always really beneficial, and Mars joining Uranus in your career house. Everything looks really like, what I want to say is it's very positive for the direction you want to go, but because it's Aquarius / Uranus, be prepared for the unexpected. Okay, that it may not go in a way that you thought it was going to go, but it is very positive, and you are going in the way you need to go. On top of the fact that you have 3 planets in Capricorn in the house of work, and Saturn right there on those planets. Saturn's approaching your Mercury, and Mercury can also, like it says, communication and broadcasting. So that's awesome. Congratulations. Which market are you in?
Thank you. I don't, Verizon Fios. They scouted me out, which was a surprise. Because I'm freelancing for another company, but it's not consistent.
Freelancing, awesome.
So this will be a full-time spot, which would be great. And
can you
share? The weather's
predictable,
national? But it's also like unpredictable. So the whole Uranus thing that goes along with
totally.
it.
Totally, and that's why, like, if you know astrology, pay attention to astrology. Just watch Mercury and watch Uranus and Aquarian energy, and you can see, there's something changing and shifting, and it's intense or it's not. And then, of course, the water signs and earth signs are cold. Water signs are wet and rainy and snowy and flooding. And then you've got air signs, which are electrical, storms, tornadoes, things like that. And then what does that leave? Earth, air, fire. Fire is,
Neptune,
of course, like
fog.
hot. Yeah. If you join Neptune with water, or Neptune water with air, you get fog, and water and fire together, you got hot, humid. It's all there in astrology too. But yeah, I mean, I keep asking, but I want to be clear. Is this a national job or is it a localized job?
A local. Oh,
okay, wonderful.
Yeah, this is my second career, so it's like.
Oh, wow. Can you give the state that it's in?
I'm pretty new. What?
Which state is it going to be in?
I'm in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It'll be Long Island, Jersey, and Westchester. So
oh my goodness.
I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
you should be. No. Sure.
The Neptune approaching my Venus and Mars, and Pluto sextiling it.
Okay,
that's
a lot
of
good stuff.
Going through a happy divorce too.
Okay, that would indicate, Neptune is in alignment with your desires, and it's friendly, so that's good. I'm happy to hear that. I mean, if honestly, Neptune on that cusp, I've seen that recently with someone. I'm like, oh, something's going to happen. But yeah, it is a transition. I mean, when Neptune crosses a cusp, it is like a happy retirement at your midheaven, a happy divorce. That's good. I'm glad. And so you're probably going to have, if you don't already, someone coming in, or you can see Venus and Mars conjunct means that you take care of a lot of your own needs. You're not looking for the other person to complete you. It's like you complete your own story. So Neptune right there, and it's in education, it can also mean that you'll find someone who's reflected the same way. They're not looking for someone else to complete them. They are who they are, but you really just click with that person, and it's long distance too. I mean, it's in the Sagittarius house, the 9th house. So yeah, you can see that coming in, and it's like a jumping off point towards your desires and action towards your desires, and a culmination of, like, it's just like the rainbows are shining, so to speak. They're like rainbows are all over your head. It's awesome.
Yay, I love rainbows.
And you deserve it. You deserve it. That Saturn and Scorpio, my goodness, girl, you've probably been going through a lot of bad stuff. It's harsh.
Yeah. But I smile through it, so.
Aw, that's so sweet. Oh, wonderful.
The sun square Pluto, Saturn square my moon. I'm very positive, believe it or not.
Yeah, no. Jupiter on your Uranus and Sag, really positive, uplifting, and congratulations. I think things are going to work out well for you, and just be aware, Aquarius, weather, it's unpredictable. Uranus is unpredictable, so you never know.
Aquarius, so I feel like it's just like expressing the quirky side of me, and not worrying about trying to be anything but myself, because then I'll just get in my own way.
Good for you.
Well, I appreciate it. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, congratulations. And looks fabulous. Looks like all in alignment. Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, you take care. Have a great week and day and everything.
Too.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. All right, take care.
Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye. Okay, that's the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. That's so funny. Maybe it's things to come. Anyway, thanks for listening. See you next week. Bye. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com. To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.